Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 4th, 2022 meeting of the Penfield Conservation Board. I'm Jim Almstead, and with us tonight we have Roseanne Cohen, Daniel Moore, Bert Gorton, Noel Schlageter, Jeff Bartoch, no, Jeff is not with us tonight, and Paul Sugnett, and Pat Schickler. We also have Catherine Dubreck, our planner for the town of Penfield, and we're thankfully joined tonight by our new supervisor, Marie Sinti. And Marie, thank you for being here. I'm going to start our meeting recognizing that this is Noel Schlageter's last appearance with us. Noel has decided to retire from his service, and I have here a certificate of recognition awarded to Noel Schlageter, and it says, in recognition of your 26 years of service, and I know it's closer to 27, on the Penfield Conservation Board, preserving our natural resources and for being a valued contributor and good friend. And I can emphasize the good friend. Noel has been so helpful over the years. Noel always had a pretty capable four-wheel drive vehicle, and we got into some very difficult terrain at times, thanks to Noel and his four-wheel drive vehicle. So Noel, you're going to be very much missed, and I'd like to present you with this certificate.
Thanks, Jim. I enjoyed all the time I spent here. I learned a lot, and helped a lot, and I was glad to represent the town at the Environmental Management Council, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. I'll be around.
Thanks. See you.
So we'll officially call this meeting to order and ask for the approval of minutes.
And move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Anyone have any corrections that they spotted? If not, they are approved, and we thank you very much, Catherine. They look very nice. You did a great job. And great job with the certificate, too, by the way.
Thank you.
We appreciate you preparing that for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, do we have any communications?
No, not at this meeting. We do not.
So we'll get right down to our plan for 2022. We talked last time about ordering some shrubs and possibly trees from the Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation District program, and I noticed that we have to get our order in by, I think it's, it says here March 4th. I was thinking it was sometime in February. So we could finalize this, of course, in our February meeting. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to, there comes something on screen.
Yep.
It's up down here, too.
They're making progress. We had some technical issues earlier, folks, so bear with us. But
Yeah, I looked
looking
at all
at the
choices.
Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation offerings.
So Roseanne, you were saying?
I looked at all the options. There's there's all different kinds of stuff you can order.
Well, the
What you
one thing that I noticed, and I took a look back at some of our historical stuff, because I've got some of that saved and things. Not surprisingly, given everything's happened the last 2 years and stuff, the offerings, especially around the shrubs, kind of where we were thinking of maybe focusing, is much reduced from what it was the last couple of times that we did that. The trees are kind of still there. I just don't know, as we talked last meeting, maybe there's some other things that would be more worthwhile for our time and effort than this. I was disappointed, to be honest with you, especially when I looked back at the number of different shrubs, like butterfly bushes, and there was a host of different bushes that just aren't there. This seems to be focused pretty heavily on trees or, like some grasses and some hostas and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I saw some.
I don't know is it's, in my mind, that attractive, because it's a lot of work to put one of those on.
It is, and you probably have the most experience of any member on the board of doing this, so I value your opinion on that. How do the rest of you feel about it? So.
Well, I know I was in agreement that I like the Bush's idea, but as far as hostas go, they're so readily available from neighbor to
Yeah,
neighbor. I
definitely.
know people that are trying to eradicate them from their yards, so.
Well, possibly what we can do, Jim, maybe a proposal is, because we do have a little bit of time, is that, everybody kind of take a look at it. Let me do a little bit more research, and we can kind of finalize at February's meeting, kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down. But I was unimpressed. It's a great effort, what they do. I applaud them. And if I think back to the first couple of times that we did trees, absent some of our fun stories that occurred, but, I thought that was just very worthwhile. But the last time that we did anything significant with trees, we just didn't end up giving them away, and we planted them here on town property. So I don't know, it's really, my opinion, ripe to be doing trees again and things. So.
As I recall, sometimes we had to bring in some Boy Scouts or something to take some of the plantings and do that, and I don't know.
Yeah,
if they're going to be available to do
especially
anything
the last time
like
we
that.
did it, we had a lot left after the day and stuff.
And I would throw in the hesitation because of COVID.
Well, that's the other thing, with everything happening still,
Yeah.
are people going to be, you look at the way they handle food banks and stuff like that, you're pulling up and you open your trunk and the workers come take it away, take it out, your trunk closes and you drive away. So I guess I would agree, Paul. Those combinations, I don't know as this would be
And and that's not a bad process. It's just a hesitancy that might be, people just may not want to come.
There are a lot of people in my Boy Scout troop, my former Boy Scout troop, that are becoming like first class and above, so now they have to do like a lot of service projects, so this would be a great opportunity for 20 plus scouts to do.
Ooh.
There's some other,
Well, and we've Daniel, great thought. We've had help before. We've had the robotics team, we've had some scout help, and so I don't think that's it. It's just, those of us that had done a few of these, that last time around was kind of a painful process in that we just didn't get public participation. And I think that's a little bit of what Paul's expressing. Maybe will there be some reticence on people's part anyways? And so I just think maybe there's some other ideas that we can
but
provide.
knowing that the scouts might be available for a project, maybe we can look at a co-sponsored sort of project as one of the other ideas when when we're
for
thinking
sure.
of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't need to discount it tonight.
Right.
But I guess I would ask everybody, think about it, with the potential, with help from scouts and that, just think about it a little bit more, and let's do a final thumbs up, thumbs down at our next, because our next meeting is February 1st, correct?
It is, yes.
Do we have
So
a
that's
budget
early
for,
enough that-
do we have a budget for how much we can spend on these things?
Well, I think typically our budget has been pretty well eliminated when we do one of these.
Yeah.
So our small budget is usually enough for training. We send
right.
1 or 2 people a year off for a training in one of our programs that's sponsored by the county. But if we do one of these tree and shrub giveaways, we usually pretty well wipe out our budget.
But is what you're looking for, an amount perhaps?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we had, if we
I
only
think
have
it's in the
$100. then-
ballpark of $500, I think, so.
I will double check and email that out
I know it
this
used to be
week.
$750, but I think it
Yeah.
got reduced because we weren't using
Yeah.
it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I remember, the last time we did this, we went into it with a reduced mindset from the couple previous that we did. And I think we ended up spending about $300 on plants. It was between $250 and $300. The first time around, I mean, we went through everything in the first day, and a couple of people went back to the county and were able to get more stuff for day 2. But then the next couple of times that it occurred, we got nowhere near that type of engagement.
Could you refresh my memory, Jim? Is the goal for this community engagement and looking for broad community engagement? Just so that when we're thinking about alternative projects, we keep the goal in mind?
I think anything we can do that benefits the community environmentally is within our domain.
Okay.
And one of the things that I brought up last time was the possibility that we might look for some speakers. And I think, Pat, I think you were interested in trying to make contact with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, if I recall. I think you mentioned that.
May have said that.
Yeah, that would certainly be a good thing to do. And Roseanne, I think the EMC looked like another possibility
I was
for
gonna get your
speakers. Anything that would bring some education to the community about invasive species, pests.
Okay.
I mentioned the spotted lanternfly last time in our discussion, and that's something we certainly don't want in this community, as if we could wave an arm and keep it away. And it's going to be a challenge. But we certainly want people to be aware of these invasive species and pests, and I think anything we can do to help in that regard would be within our domain.
And so because of COVID, would be looking more for like a Zoom sort of presentation?
Well, now that we have this wonderful feature of television, which we haven't had in the past, typically we've had small numbers of people come up to observe our meetings. This gives us an outreach that I think we would like to take advantage of. Anybody have some other thoughts?
Well, and I know one thing I was going to offer it up, kind of follow up to Roseanne from last meeting, but I believe the EMC meets the third Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I emailed Star this morning. I'd gotten an email like that Wednesday, the day after and December 15th.
Oh, right.
But I wasn't able to participate because of some other plans. So I emailed back saying, apologize for not getting back quicker, but yes, and that I thought it was the third Wednesday of the month, so.
She always sends stuff out.
Yeah, so I will have an EMC meeting coming up, and my plan was to kind of keep this as a thought as I sit in that forum, and, what might be something to pick out of that to be able to participate, because a number of years back, we did have a speaker come in on invasive species.
Yeah.
And that's when we had, if you remember,
that.
we actually had the
right.
presentation was here, and it was open to the public. And I think it wasn't, they didn't jam the hall, but, we had quite a few people. But again, that was a forum where you could be in person, and, for the months yet to come, that's not a very good move.
So is the expectation that this is going to occur during a meeting, or is it going to be a standalone?
Oh, I would think it would be a part of our meeting, yes. That was my thought, that, maybe we'd have about a half-hour presentation by a guest speaker, incorporate that into our meeting, and certainly reach a far greater audience than we've been able to reach in the past.
Yeah.
You'd have to advertise it. You'd have to be able to advertise it somehow.
Yes, and of course, if, for example, we were doing that next month, which, by the way, we're not, folks, but if we were, we're addressing, hopefully, a large number of people right now and letting them know that this would be happening. So for those of our thousands of television viewers, why aren't you
watching? You put into the posters.
Why aren't you watching?
Right.
Everybody loves Raymond tonight.
Where do we advertise for the trees?
But for those of you who are watching us, stay tuned because we'll try to bring
First
some
time we did.
programs to you.
Did we
during this
advertise in
year.
the Post?
The first time we did. I don't know as we did the other time, because the first one we did, the second one was in conjunction with the pretty significant Earth Day effort that the town had. If you recall, there was some other booths out there, and, you know, I forget what the topics were, but that was in conjunction with that. I think the second and third times was in conjunction with Earth Day because of the timing. You know, you order the stuff in March, and you've got about a week window to pick them up. And one of the problems in that, too, with those of us younger in those days than we are now, it was always around the Easter break type problem. So there was a couple of times where various people were out of town, you know, doing family vacations and things. So it was a pretty discrete time, and it's usually, I think, in April.
Yeah.
I didn't look to see, but, and so it coincided with some of the Earth Day activities. I don't know as the town is planning anything this year, but.
I could also work with our new communications director, Chris, and he's really good with posting on like social media and email blasts and updating the website. So I'd be happy to work with him to.
I would agree. I mean, I think that's the thing. Number one is
Blast
to
it
get the
out, too.
message out, and I don't know if there's any way of knowing, I know we've joked about it, but knowing how many people are tuned in tonight. I
Well,
don't know.
exactly. I mean, how much, this doesn't get advertised.
Well,
So maybe we,
unless you're a
Even
PCTV junkie, right? You're not going to be tuning in, is that
so
what you're saying?
maybe there needs to be just a reminder.
Well,
They could put it.
I think there's ways that we can broaden
Absolutely.
to make sure
Absolutely.
people are at least aware that it's going to occur. And
Jim, were you thinking of only like one presentation, or could we do a series?
Well, I was definitely thinking of ongoing presentations, certainly not every meeting, but maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, we talked about quarterly.
Yeah,
Okay.
With
So,
the first one
yeah,
with a
okay.
target in March. But, I mean, it could be September, just let's get it figured out, right?
I did want to say, with respect to outreach, I think we've done a very good job as a town with the town website, and I encourage all of my colleagues here and anyone who's watching, spend some time with the town website. I had not looked at it for several months, and I looked at it yesterday and today, and I was impressed by what I saw. It's getting to be a very good resource, and I noticed that we've incorporated links to the Department of State, for example, which I don't think we had done before. Very well done. I didn't see our pictures on the website this time, nor did I see pictures of any of the boards. But all of that is subject to change anyway, Murray, at your discretion and the town board's discretion. So I would look forward to seeing pictures again for all of our participants on the various boards. Any other thoughts about what we might do for 2022? And if not, I'm going to ask Catherine to update us on any projects that are underway and projects that will be coming our way.
Yes. An update on Chipotle that's on Empire. That is open now. It opened last Thursday. So there, if you want your burritos and queso, they are open now. We also have Penfield Heights, the mixed-use development project. They have resubmitted, well, they have submitted a brand-new application. They were not approved by the planning board in August. They did some work. They've resubmitted their application. It's brand new. So it looked like the board had done a board report for the previous application The summary just says that there's no concerns with the sketch plan and subdivision approval. I'd be happy to share the new plans if you'd like to revisit that. I can't remember offhand how much has changed just because it came in like late Thursday and then we had Friday off. But I'm happy to share the new plans. I'd bring them up, but we can't right now.
Yeah.
So the board report was done February of last year. Paul, Pat, and Jeff. And I could share this out too. Oh, yeah, it's up there too.
Well, Jeff's not here tonight, but
Yeah, I
Pat
don't
and
remember
Paul, what are your thoughts here? Do we need another visit, or?
I think, Paul, was that the one maybe Jeff and I did, and we filled you in because we weren't able to Skype with you at the
Scroll
last
down a
minute?
little.
Right.
Where is it?
It's on 250.
I can't read this, so I,
Is this on the corner of 250 and Sweets Corners?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the one
yeah, and there's, you go,
west of.
they're on the top of the hill, and you go downward. There was some,
Yeah, it's 18.
like a garage and things there.
Yep, yeah.
There's a house. And
Yep, it's 1810 and 1820.
What were our, did
Fairport.
we have concerns on, what were our concerns on that?
Nope, it just says you have no concerns.
Okay, I think that, was there a stream, but it was further away, perhaps? That would have been in our observations?
I don't see a
Or what was
comment on that.
observations up a little further?
There's a stream and wetlands, but the project does not plan to encroach on the wetlands. There's some grassy area, there's 2 mature trees. The trees don't appear healthy.
Okay.
There's 2 pine trees to the back of the garage and shed, which will require removal. And then
Okay.
it's in the mixed-use district. There's 132 units for this old application. I think it's like 120 for the new application. But it's the same area. It's the
Okay.
same sort of layout, but things are like slightly
And
different.
what was was it the planning board that you said asked them to go back and
Yes.
it was because too dense, or?
There were just some other things that planning board wanted to see, and they hadn't changed, and they weren't looking to go in the direction the planning board was looking at, despite lots of meetings. But they have come to PRC and met with staff, and just to get a feel of what staff are thinking, what planning board's thinking, and they're on the schedule for the February 10th planning board meeting.
Well, if it's staying within the same framework, I
Make sure, yep, the 10th.
don't feel like we need to go out and see it again, or,
Okay, yeah, just wanted to throw
because,
that out there.
now I recall, again, how the,
Yeah, I would agree, Pat, that's been pumpkin patch for ever and a day.
and it was.
So I could see if there's issues the planning board might have had, as far as density, maybe a
Yeah.
road for turnaround for
Exactly.
emergency vehicles, as they've addressed those, I would think from our standpoint. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just a big open field.
Yes, and now, as I said, as we had observed, it was, any construction was going to be far from the sensitive areas.
Okay, you've convinced me that as far as the conservation issues are concerned, I wouldn't think we'd have to revisit that. So, what else do you have, Catherine?
Trying to find- for Highland Estates, we received the New York State SHPO, the Historic Preservation Office. They confirmed and agree with what the developer found with their archaeology study, that there's nothing going on there archaeology-wise. They did share revised plans with us. I know I addressed one of the points that were in the board report for the Highland Estates project last meeting. That was,
The possible future pond, just
yes.
framing those words.
Yep, they had a pond that was labeled weird. We weren't sure if it was stormwater or not, and they confirmed that it will, if it goes in, it'll be aesthetic, won't be stormwater pond. There was also some concern about the location of where the house will be on lot 15. It was kind of on the steep slope. I haven't had a chance to look at the plans yet, but they did send in revised ones. If you'd like to see those, I'm happy to share those out if you want to revisit that point of the board report.
I
That
think
is
just to see
up
what
to
they
you.
Yeah.
did, that was, we were like, why can't they, move it a little, and maybe they hit.
Yeah.
We thought maybe there was construction reasons that we didn't know
Right.
about, or perhaps the overall appearance and view of how each house in relation to the other would look if they moved it.
Yeah, I can share those. Other than that, there's nothing really new happening. There's a small Verizon cell tower application, a sketch plan application they would like to go on Penfield Road where the fire district is, just like a small corner of the parking lot. Try to bring the map up. That is on the schedule for next Thursday's planning board meeting. See if I can get that quick.
So whose property is it that they want to put the tower on?
It is Penfield Fire District.
Okay.
I will zoom in as much as I can. Oops.
It was on 441
Too far.
firehouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it is.
Which firehouse?
On 441.
Yeah, but there's two.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
there's one right in town, and then there's one out,
In the
you know,
address.
by me.
1838 Penfield Road. Let me see.
That sounds like the one in town.
In town. I don't know the
Right.
numbers.
I don't know, the address is enough to.
It is right in the Four Corners.
Okay, it's the firehouse down
Area.
there then, not the one out
Yeah, yeah.
on the east.
Right there. So let me
Knock
get
themselves
back.
dead.
Are there residences nearby?
Yeah.
So, are people going to have concerns that there's a
They might.
cell tower nearby their backyard?
Yeah, I would imagine there will be some members of the public that would like to come to the meeting. This will be my first sketch plan application at a planning board meeting, so I'm not super sure how that differs. I don't think there's a public
There's not a lot.
aspect to
You have
it.
to go east down 441 until you start hitting some houses. You have to
Mostly businesses over there.
north
Oh.
past the school before you see hit houses. You have to go across 5 Mile before you hit houses.
Oh, okay, all right,
It's got to be the school, it's got to be back there by the school and
Yeah.
okay.
park and.
But they will have,
Sorry to interrupt. Please remember to use your microphones. Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
There will have to be another application for preliminary final, so this won't be the end of it.
Okay. What does the lot or property there look like? If it's in the Four
Parking lot.
Corners area, isn't it already built up? Would there be conservation issues?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so. It's just, I'm trying to get the,
I would not think that.
I walk it about twice a week around that area,
Okay,
and it's there's not much there.
okay,
There's businesses, there's that school. Most of it's paved.
okay.
Just, I could see it going up, and if people think it's going to be too tall, maybe an issue, but
yeah, I believe it's 125 feet with a 4-foot tall lightning rod on top of it. So it's 129 feet.
put a Bills flag on top.
But it would be right in
Yeah,
this
there you go.
I don't
little
think there's any issues for
corner
us.
right there.
Okay,
Not for us.
But that's it. That's
Okay, so I
projects.
think the consensus that I hear with the board is that that's not going to be a conservation issue. I guess I would agree with that line of thought.
Okay.
So I think we're down to things that are either held or old business, and you got anything there, Catherine?
I don't at this time.
So I think we need a kind of a plan here for our action items, and I think our action items are to look for a meaningful speaker for some time in the near future, and Bert, you're going to pursue that with the EMC.
Correct.
Pat, did you want to pursue that with
I
the
can call
Cornell
Cooperative Extension, yeah, somehow I didn't have it on my to-do list, so.
Okay. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I guess
No,
I
it doesn't mean anything. I'm amazed I remembered about that review that we did a while ago.
Okay, and then we'll finalize our decision, which looks like right now that it's going to be a no on the tree and shrub giveaway, but we'll further discuss that
I have another
on
question
February
about that.
1st.
Do we know if the town is doing anything for that?
I
Whatever,
couldn't
it's Earth
find
Day
anything
or-
on the website. I looked on the website because the date would be late
Right.
April. And I looked on the website, I didn't see anything there similar to what we've done in the past.
Well,
Yeah.
because that would draw people,
Yeah.
you know.
There's some ideas floating around, but just, it's been a busy 2 days for Marie, so
Yeah.
I was gonna pick her brain a little bit later in the month and see. So stay tuned, I guess.
Okay.
And Catherine, just to put the seminar that I listened in on to bed, if you want to, or at least get a hold of the recording. I
Yes.
thought they said they were going to send it to those that were I don't remember now.
Yes,
But I
I-
don't think I've received anything, so,
I
or a
wrote
link to it,
down-
and then,
Yep, I wrote down to check for that, and I will share that out.
and maybe Jim can take a look and see if he thinks it's worthwhile for us to look at any of it as part of a meeting.
You know, we're probably all going to come at this from a different perspective, but you mentioned that we, of course, are not a decision-making board,
Right,
and
But it is all
I'm
about
honestly-
environment.
I'm honestly torn because I see the value of leaf blowers, and yet I do, as a neighbor, object to excessive noise from my neighbors when they're using them. But I just, frankly, I can't see us taking a position that says
One way or the
we should
other.
outlaw leaf blowers.
But wouldn't it be nice to educate ourselves on it? It is something environmental.
It is something environmental.
Or if you see that we wouldn't be taking a position, then maybe it's not, if we know up front that we don't see ourselves taking a position on it, then is it not worth this board's time to look at it?
The seminar that you watched, it came at this from the perspective of let's eliminate gas-powered leaf blowers. Is that right? Everybody that was a participant was
The
promoting
presenters,
promoting
yes.
let's get rid of
This is what-
gas-powered leaf
This is what
blowers?
we did. And again, this is my broad thoughts on it, being that it was already a few weeks, a couple weeks ago maybe, and my brain sometimes doesn't extend that far back, but that was my
I know I
impression.
plan to drive my gasoline-powered car for some time. And my son has electric vehicles, but I don't see myself going in that direction. I wouldn't want to have someone obsolete my brand-new gas-powered leaf blower at any time in the near future. So how does everybody feel about this issue?
I think it's worth getting educated just to understand what facts have come to light from these communities that have done so. If there's evidence besides noise at wrong times, that the gas-powered devices, there's so many of them, and because there's the little guy itself doesn't do all that much, but you got a gazillion of them out there, it does a lot of damage, it's worth understanding. To your point, I'm not sure we'd ever take a stand, but it's good to be educated. I'm not sure that doesn't fall into this conversation we had earlier, which Daniel started, understanding what our green thinking is in the town. So it'd be good to at least get the education within this board. And I wouldn't spend more than 15 minutes on it, this
Right.
fact, this fact, this fact, as opposed to the hour and 45 minutes
Right.
to our presentation, which was blah,
Painful.
blah, blah. I'd like to hear, this is what we have found of real evidence of damage to the environment. Because there
Especially,
is some that it's worth knowing.
and especially if you're going to personally, anybody say, well, I want to keep using my leaf blower, and I don't, you want to just say, well, this is what I think, and as you said, the opposing opinions, perhaps, is to be able to say, well, these are the facts one way, this is maybe my facts the other way.
It could be a 5 or 10-year plan to phase them out.
And we can always suggest using electric instead of gas ones because of the conversation was geared more towards eliminating them altogether. We could, as a board, since we can't make decisions, we could advise people, oh, if you want to keep your leaf blower, that's fine, but go electric instead.
Or to, some of it, it didn't have to go, obviously there's steps and it's a process, and it could just be, we may decide to have people become aware, or maybe we do nothing, but we have more knowledge ourselves, and some of it was just to say, don't use them during this period of time, to try to, try to be cognizant, just awakening. I never thought about it, maybe disturbing my neighbor, for instance. I never even thought about that. What does that say about me? But
So how would we disseminate some of
well, we have to get a hold of the thing first, and then I thought, that somebody, I didn't want to say that it should just be me saying, oh, I think this part is worthwhile or that part is worthwhile, so that Catherine or Jim or both of us or look at it and pick out some pieces, and somebody maybe more technologically advanced than I can put it together so that it's easy to find, put it into one small piece that we can look at. I don't think each presentation was very long in itself.
I meant to attend and I wasn't able to. But I'll once I get the link, assuming I can, I'll watch the whole thing and then give a stab at it to try and summarize into.
Yeah, pick out a couple things, hear it in their words perhaps, or.
So first step will be getting the link to the recording, and I'll share that out, and then maybe we can go from there.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, anything else? So it's nice that we're all able to get together after the new year, and I'm sorry that Noel has retired, but we will, I'm sure, hear from him from time to time. Probably not with his four-wheel drive vehicle digging through the mud to go on the next nasty hike. But is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
And I guess we are, in fact, adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.